All right, parents, have you seen a text message like this one on your kid's phone? It reads, "I'm Teddy. I'm 7 years old. I've got no eyes and blood all over my face. I'm dead. If you don't send this to at least 12 people, I'll come to your house at midnight and I'll hide under your bed when you're asleep and I'll kill you." Well, that text sent to a bunch of 4th and 5th graders in New Jersey. Now the principal sending a letter home to parents saying, use this text as a teaching tool. Radio host Doug Stewart joined the panel now along with Christy and Dr. Tiff. So apparently it's a chain letter, okay? Chain letters were different when we were kids.
Yeah.
They were actual letters.
Yeah, right. So a death threat like this on the phone, you know, that you're getting the text message, do you use this as a teaching tool?
Well, first of all, the problem is why 4th graders have phones. We're going to get into that a little bit later.
That's right.
But if your 4th grader does have a phone and they receive a text like this, you just tell them that it's fake, that it's not real at all. And I tell my kids any emails they get that are like spam-like, I tell them to delete them. Don't even look at them at all. Don't pay it any attention.
But when you're 4th or 5th grader, you don't realize that these things aren't real. When you're a little kid, your life is very egocentric. You focus everything on yourself, and you think, oh my gosh, what did I do? I better send this to X number of people. I better forward it to this person or I'm going to die.
You create the madness.
Yeah, it's very, very scary. So I can understand why these kids, and I do think it's a teachable moment. It is a time to sit down with your kids, talk about, okay, there are some mean people in this world, and people do some really messed up things. This is one of them. Let me show you how to handle this.
Listen,
so in that case, it's teachable.
But how would you tell them to handle it?
I would tell them to delete the message anytime. Same thing as what Doug is saying. Anytime someone sends you something like that, bring it to me. Let me see it. Let me handle it for you. As a parent, as an adult, you have the tools. You're equipped with the tools to be able to handle some stuff like that. And also, call 911. If they're making terroristic threats to you.
Right. Well, we don't know where this came from, right, Christy?
Right.
So what do we do?
But there are, I mean, most major cell providers do have options for you when it comes to your kids and cell phones. You can provide content, time, and location filters for them. They also have, obviously, control in terms of blocked calls. You can block texts on the kids' phones. Tracking, this is interesting, tracking and GPS services in terms of knowing where your kids are. Verizon has one, apparently, that they can even tell you how fast your kid is driving in the car.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
You know, I don't think...
They do have that on cost, but...
Yeah, I mean, is it too much? I don't think so. I mean, Doug, let's go ahead and launch into that conversation because 56% of our kids between the ages of 8 and 12 have a cell phone. I mean, do 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds need a cell phone? Seriously.
Definitely not. And I remember being young, and my mother was big on being gullible. She always said, don't be anybody's fool, you know? So there's common sense and there's book sense. Common sense is this thing is fake. Don't pay any attention to it. Ignore it. But when my personal opinion is a kid shouldn't have a phone until there's a need for it. When my daughters got in 9th grade in high school, when they stay after school for cheerleading or for something dealing with school, then I could find it acceptable to give them a cell phone. But a 4th grader or a 5th grader, there's no reason for them to have one because they're always going to be with me.
It's true. And we posed that question on our Facebook page as well. Should 10-year-olds have their own cell phones? And here's what Tanya wrote. While they're away from home, school, etc., I see it as a safety tool. However, it should be taken away at home. I got to agree with that one. Megan wrote, depends on the kiddo and the parenting style. 10 is a peculiar age of testing freedom and independent nature. Dr. Tiff, that's true. We know, right?
Yeah, I think it's right. And, you know, I tend to agree with what Doug is saying, except for cases like Columbine. That's what changed my opinion about kids and cell phones, because that was an opportunity for those kids to call the police when no one else maybe had access or knew what was going on. Those kids had their cell phones in their backpacks. They whipped them out and they called 911.
That's extreme, though. That's so extreme.
That's quite a burden to put on the kids.
All right, how about
and
this?
it's not putting that burden on the kid, but had they not had those cell phones,
You're right.